Liverpool versus everybody. Got my main man James here. How you feeling, bro?
I'm all good, man. All good, bro.
Good, good. Yeah, been a little while, but definitely a lot to talk about. Just want to. We haven't spoken really in depth since our last match against City, so because that's the case, let's just briefly speak about that. And wanted to ask you, um, first and foremost, when you saw the lineups, were you did you have some doubt at all? You saw Lovren and Gomez at right back. Were you
Yeah.
disappointed, or did you feel like, hey, Klopp must have a reason? Let's see where we go. What was your honest feeling about that going into the game?
Um. Honestly, for me, I would have rather Klein at right back and Gomez in centre back. If Trent can't play, if Klopp thinks Trent isn't match fit, that's I don't. That's for him. That's cool. We don't see him in training, but personally, I know Lovren had a very good game. So this is obviously not now. This is prior to the game. Lovren, he just reminds me of the old Liverpool, the Liverpool we're trying to get away from. And with Klein, he lacks the attacking ability of Trent, and that's why he'll never start over Trent. But I can't ever think of Klein making a mistake. He's Mr. Reliable. So yeah, personally, Gomez and Van Dijk's the best partnership in the Premier League, I think, defense wise. So keep them together, and then I would have liked Klein to maybe start. Um, but Lovren was probably man of the match on our behalf. So yeah, it worked out in the end, I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy how that happened because I think I've I think a long time ago I've just said, you know what, even if the lineup looks crazy to me or a certain player I think should start isn't starting, I'm gonna just go with it because Klopp has more or less proved me wrong so many times. So in this game, I tried to be optimistic and not really jump to my initial feeling, which was, what the hell are we doing? Why are we switching this up?
Mm,
I mean, it kind of worked. It kind of worked, and I think Joe Gomez, like you said, I in the video I posted after the game, I said Lovren was my man of the match, but
mm,
I thought even Gomez was really, really good at shutting Sterling
yeah,
totally out of the game. I mean, Sterling was just, it was almost like he wasn't on the field. He just totally
yeah,
dominated Sterling. So it worked out fine. Um, Besides it could have been a pin for Lovren early in the game. We end
yeah.
up,
It
of
could have
course,
been.
conceding that in the end, which we'll get to. But just talk to me about what it means to you that we were able to shut down a team who I don't remember the last time they've had as little as two shots on target all game. In the first half, they had no shots on target. I don't think. So yeah, just talk to me about that. Like how you felt about the way we were able to just stop them from doing what they wanted to do.
I think we've got the best defense in the Premier League. I think that's just exactly how it is right now. I just think as a team we are very very good at the back, and that's why we are level first because the front three have been they're just not firing. I can't believe we're even saying this, but I've got stats that Mane 0 in 7, Firmino 0 in 5, Salah 1 in 8. Can you imagine if we had said that last year? Crazy. So we've done really well on this difficult period because of Virgil, Gomez, Trent, Robertson, Allison, but also the way that Wijaldum, Milner, Hendo, three engines. Now I've got criticism for them three as well, but that's how well we've done. We've shut off teams. We've really defensive, not really defensive like United, but with no mistakes are being taken. Teams are scared to come at us. So that's how I think we shut them down. But I will also say, I think Pep changed his style of play when he came to Anfield. I haven't seen Man City come like that. I think he was nervous with the way he didn't want to come at us high pressing, attack, because look what happened the last three times that happened. We got like 9 goals in 3 games. So I think that also played a part in it. And yeah, so that's my thoughts. We're very good
What
defensively against them. We closed them
what does
down.
that what does that say to you though, about a manager like Pep who's comes across as being very sure of himself, very, very confident? What does it say about him if you're a player under him that
Yeah,
we saw the documentary how he pretty much admitted to being scared of Liverpool.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
what does it say that he has to change his whole game plan to play against Liverpool because he's so terrified that he knows if he plays the way he wants to play, we'll tear him up?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's crazy. Like someone, I've got this from someone else. It must have been Carragher and Neville, and to make for me the best manager in the world have to change his tactics. He is scared of Liverpool, as we know, but his record against Klopp is embarrassing almost. And City's record at Anfield is insane. 2003, the last time they won. Aguero probably the best striker in the Premier League since Suarez, Henry. That level of striker has not scored in 10 games at Anfield. 10 games.
Yeah.
So there's also a mental block. Sterling, he's not got one goal against us yet. He gets 22 last year, and there's something I feel like with City, we're 1-0 up psychologically. But when we're in the tunnel, we're 1-0 up. On the Wednesday before the game, we're 1-0 up in their head because we embarrassed them. We embarrassed them when they were unbeaten, arguably the best team in the world around January when we played them. And then when we knocked them out of Europe, the way we knocked them out of Europe as well was embarrassing. And so I think that's what it is. I think Pep wanted to protect his players. If we had beaten them 4-0, what does that do? What does that lead them? What kind of a run does that give them after the international break? So, I think would he have took a draw before? Maybe not. But yeah, I think he kind of thought when he looked at the fixture list, the one game he thought we can probably afford to drop a point at is Anfield, because he will think that we will drop points on the road elsewhere. Maybe at the Etihad, maybe a stupid games at Wolves away, but he probably thought City will win every game of the season. Don't know about Anfield. So, we'll change things a little bit for Anfield. David Silva played a bit up top a bit. The attackers, not starting Sane, a bit crazy. Sane, he's the one that's given us a lot of trouble. But Mahrez is probably a bit more disciplined than having him and Sterling. Taking Aguero off, stuff like that. Maybe Aguero psychological. Jesus has come on. Mahrez missed the pen. Is that psychological? I don't know. So, it's quite interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting what you say about how just the mental situation while they're in the tunnel, because I think a lot of times teams that City play against, they kind of lose the game before the ball's even kicked. Kind of lower, lesser sides, maybe even sides that are considered top 6, top 4, whatever, maybe even sides like Tottenham, maybe even Chelsea, maybe Arsenal. Before they even play City, there's this whole thing about, it's big bad Pep and his boys. So I think that's, someone in the comments said it doesn't say much. A smart man knows his weaknesses. There's no room for pride at the top.
That's true.
I would change if it'd been beaten home away in Champions. I see what he's saying, but to me, I think it says a lot. I think it says that a team like Liverpool is a force to be reckoned with. And if a guy like Pep, as successful as he's been, as amazing as his team is, at least that's what people say on the European stage. To me, that says a lot. It says a lot that he knows that going up against Liverpool, he has to alter his whole framework. All of his tactics, all of the things that he wanted to do or would like to do against any other team, that he has to change his whole kind of way of working to play against Liverpool. So I think that's good. And I think it ended up being a game that the more I look back at it, I've watched it several times now, because I think in the first watch, it was kind of stressful, especially with that penalty that they, for some reason, I don't know how Riyad Mahrez missed that, but I'm glad he did. Just certain moments that were really stressful. But when I keep watching the game over and over again, it was actually an interesting game to watch. And it was interesting to see how these two teams who are looked at as probably the best going forward in the Premier League, but also easily probably the best so far defensively. And City really, really surprised me at how good that they were defensively, man. Laporte, Stones is coming into himself. Mendy was good. Kyle Walker, we already know what he brings, but they really, really surprised me defensively. And so, to me, it was a real heavyweight fight, man. Two teams just really feeling each other out, and it was a nice way to end this kind of difficult stretch that we had. Even like the last 4 games, Sturridge is not only our leading scorer, but the only guy who scored. So that's a slightly troubling, and it seems like we've taken a flip flop. Last season, you knew we could score goals. Our defense was a bit of a problem. This year, our defense is literally keeping us in games. So. That's positive. Will our luck finally run out at some point? Probably.
Yes.
And so,
I'm happy you said that.
I feel like it is of high order that we get not even the play, because the play has been pretty much good. It's just like converting these half chances, whole chances, whatever you want to call them. We definitely need to be getting the goals. Are you concerned about the midfield now? Because a lot of us are talking about the front three, but also we have some issues, I think, personally, especially with Milner going out for a significant amount of time. Naby not necessarily getting up to pace, but you kind of understand that, Fab. Do you think these next stretch of games will give these guys, including Shaqiri, a little bit more time to show what they have?
Yeah, I am nervous now. I kept saying, like Napoli away was probably the really, I was that is for me the poorest performance.
Yeah.
Top three memory poorest performances that I can remember of the past 12 months. It's up there with West Brom when we got knocked out of the cup. You know, it's just I felt like Napoli outplayed us at our own game. But anyway, for what you said about the midfield and strikers, yeah, I am nervous because, you know, Wijnaldum, Hendo, Milner are all good at what they do, but they're all so similar. And at the moment, Keita, he's looking good, but I think he could really do with a run of games against easier opposition. You know, he's been tough games, man. He's going into games where he's going to get some of the best midfielders in the world as of recent. And so, yeah, I feel like, you know, I am because we didn't sort out an attacking midfielder. And then we've got Shaqiri, who apparently has come out and said, I want to play the 10 role. And we haven't really given it to him except for one half where I thought he was amazing. And we took him off for reasons, I don't know, maybe for the cup, whatever, the cup game against Chelsea. But I am, because I like what you said, our luck running out. Like, if you look at that period of games, the seven dark games, we say, very good against Tottenham, good against PSG, came down to a 92nd minute winner, but we were good against them. And then it kind of got a bit worse. Cup game, it's hard to say because we missed so many players, should have won. And then you look at the Chelsea game in the Premier League, Sturridge, again, last minute, out of nowhere. He shouldn't even be shooting from there. It shows confidence of the guy. We get something out of it. Man City, you know, the penalty, right last minute, we get something out of it. You know, Napoli, it was almost like that. Then they scored 93rd minute, didn't get something out of it. So at the moment, I look at our midfielder. Do we have a player, and I hate to go on about Coutinho, but do we have a player that can grab the game by the scruff of the neck and just put it in from 35 yards out? No. Do we have a midfielder that can be in his own half and ping the ball 60 yards out and then it goes over and Salah drops the shoulder and he's one-on-one? No, I don't think we do. Since we've lost Coutinho, I think we've really lost an attacking-minded midfielder. Ox is out, someone that can bring the ball from midfield into attack. And I think it's maybe starting to show more because the strikers are also not performing. So, you know, it's a bit of a worrying one at the moment. And I'm putting it down at the moment to fatigue. I'm hoping international break will be back to where we should be.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's obvious that we're missing somebody with that kind of dynamic, and not even always so much of a shot from distance, but a guy who can actually carry the ball through. You look at Gini; he's a different midfielder than he was at Newcastle. For as good as Milner is, he's not a guy that's going to really carry the rock through. He's just not going to do that. Neither is Henderson. So, no, we're not looking for that. And I think the more we get hopefully in these games we'll see a little bit more from Naby.
Yeah.
The game at West Ham, he was amazing. And it just seems like, you know, he's been in and out of the squad. I don't know if that's the issue. Got to believe Fab will be back in. Maybe Lallana can come in and help us with something. Or like you say, put Shaqiri at the 10. So someone mentioned Ramsey in the chat earlier. Is he a guy you fancy?
Yes and no. Yes, because he's free. That's what I was about to say. Yes, because he's free. You've got to look at players like Milner. Milner is 33. He's already said if his childhood team comes up, Leeds, he's gone. So all of a sudden, if he comes in for Milner, wonderful. But if he's to replace Coutinho, then no. There's a massive difference between someone like Fekir and Aaron Ramsey. There's a big drop-off. Yeah. I don't think Ramsey will come into the team and be the jigsaw to be in Man City. You look at Man City, they've lost to Bryson, Bernardo Silva. Can you come in, please? Wonderful. Now, that's the issue. Ramsey will not come into the team and all of a sudden be the puzzle that makes us win the Premier League. But I have no qualms with having Ramsey on the bench, especially with Ox being out. But when Ox is back, what's the point of having Ramsey? Like, Ox is, for me, a younger, a better version of Ramsey. So I get that he's free, but, you know, wage-wise, and it just, you know, I just think I'd rather not. I'd rather spend the money on, and there's more players than just Fekir, but I'd rather spend the money on an attacking midfielder. But in January, to be honest, you know, in January, this is the best time I think we've got to win the league in since I've supported us, probably. So if we are this close to Man City, 2, 3, 4 points, an attacking midfielder could be the difference.
Yeah, I just don't see it though, James. I mean, if I know Klopp, I feel like, you know, in his mind, he's like, look, I bought 2 midfielders. I'm not going to keep buying guys because it may not, quote unquote, be working to the standard that people think. Again, he sees the team day in, day out. what we see on Saturday and Sunday is one glimpse. We don't really know what's going on. So I got to believe that they're working towards being what Klopp needs them to be in this team.
Yeah.
To be patient with that. But also, it's more of just thinking that I just don't think Klopp's going to, because that almost seems like a panic buy. And when have we ever known Klopp to really do that?
Yeah, definitely.
Even if, as supporters, if we say, look, man, you need to get a center back or you need to get whatever the case may be, I highly doubt Klopp will do it. Now, the fact that Ramsey's free, which does that mean he's free in January or just free in the summer?
He'll be free in the summer. He'll have 6 months left.
Okay.
He's allowed to speak to clubs, but there's a weird rule. Sometimes you're not allowed to speak to clubs in the Premier League. Kind of like Emre Can. He wasn't allowed to speak to clubs in the Premier League until his contract was out, whereas he could speak to Juventus 6 months before or 8 months before.
Okay. So it's 3 years in. We know what Klopp has done. Most of the places he's been at, Dortmund was a lucky number 3. He got them going and kind of put them on the map there in the Bundesliga. 3rd season here. I want to ask you, off top of your head, I know I didn't prep you for this really, but if you had to pick your best moment, your favorite moment in the 3 seasons under Klopp, what would it be?
It'd have to be Manchester City at home in the Champions League, where we went either that or in the league, but probably the Champions League where we went up. I can't remember. We went up. I was there. It was like 3-0 or something.
Yeah.
Probably more. There's a few that come out. A few moments. Dortmund in the Europa League where we won.
Of course.
That comes out. That reminds me of Rafa. But I think the level of being in the Champions League, having at the time level favourites Barca. Everyone said we weren't going to do it. We were 4th in the league or 5th, whatever, and we went not only 1-0 up, we went like 3-0 up. That was probably a surreal moment. Yeah, I'd probably say that. I'd probably say the City Champions League first leg when we went 3-0 up.
Yeah, one of mine is his first season when we did to City, and I think like just in the Premier League, I think I picked that one because it really kind of set the tone with, I think, this kind of, I don't really want to call it a rivalry, but this kind of back and forth between the teams now, whether it be the managers, the battle between them, the actual players on the pitch, the supporters. I think that was one game where you really could see Klopp's style of football, how it was really going to work. That really kind of set the tone at that high press, and how we can turn guys over really quick. Obviously, we had Coutinho still at the time, but you can see how Firmino could really work. This was pre-Mane, I believe. Yeah, so, but there's so many. I mean, Dortmund, of course, comes to mind. City. And
even Roma.
Yeah, Roma too. Even Porto. I mean, that game against Porto where people were saying, "Oh, this is going to be a really tough draw." We pretty much go spank them. So many games you can really choose from, and I think that's a good thing. We really can see the changes that Klopp has made. When you look at that first roster he had to the roster he has now, you can see where it's changed. You can see how much money has been spent, how much we've invested in Klopp really, and trusted what he wanted to do. So it's been pretty good so far. I think if I had to grade the season, I'm pretty happy where we are. I mean, to get points away from top 4, top 6 rivals is always a good thing. And obviously, riding a little bit about luck. I know last season there was a stat that we were the most unluckiest team. So that's nice. It's also nice, James, to see that we're not really getting muscled or punked off the park like we used to get. I mean, I feel like guys are really getting stuck in, going in for time. I mean, Gomez, whether it's Gomez, Lovren, Milner, obviously Van Dijk. The guys are playing with a lot more physicality. I've noticed. Genie out of the park, and I mean, you look at Firmino. People are saying he had a really bad game against City, and fair enough. But to see him kind of body check dudes, and of course the ref wasn't really letting us play doing that, but he was body checking dudes. He was pressing the keepers. At one time where Edison tried to clear it out, and he blocked it off his foot and it went to the stands. But I just love the way that Liverpool have kind of put away this kind of soft mentality that we've had going into games. That's really nice to see.
100%. What you said then about our season has been good. This has been a great season. The problem is the Premier League level right now, I would say, is arguably at the all-time high. You look at this season, if Liverpool had this start, any other season, 8 out of 10 seasons, you're running away with it, but we're third on points. We're first, but we're third on goal difference. So the level of the football right now in the Premier League is crazy. It's just insane. And I think, like, how have Liverpool got the best ever team that we've probably had in 20 years, but Man City have a better team? It just shows. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, do you believe that though? I mean, I think a lot of people. Do you believe at this point in time, City does have a better team than us?
Yeah. When I say better team, I'm talking squad. Definitely.
Okay, got it.
Starting 11.
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Our midfield is where we lose.
Yeah,
every day. De Bruyne and David Silva are walking into our team. I'm sorry, but they are. And
no question.
But defense-wise, I'd say I'm always on form, definitely right now. And attack-wise, it's 50-50. Aguero v Firmino, you're probably going to say Aguero. Salah v Sterling, you're saying Salah. Mane v Sane, it's so hard. So, and your keeper be keeper, flipping out. You know what I mean? So, but squad-wise, you're looking at you're looking at the missing De Bruyne, and you're looking at their bench, and then you look at our bench. You look at Moreno coming in, in the cups, and Mingele coming in the cups, and that's the difference. Whereas they've got quality upon quality in the team, and they go back and back. And Gundogan is a crazy ass player, and you don't even know if he starts for them half the time. He comes in, comes out when he wants, and the only weak option I think they have is the CDM, the defense. Except for Fernandinho, they've got no one else. That's the only. Except for that, they've arguably got almost 2 world-class players in every position. So I think that's what it is. It's the drop off.
Someone said they want your opinion on something. I think he says, "Are we happy to just win one and fall back?" I guess so. He's talking about. I feel like Klopp is not. He said, "I feel like Klopp is not the man to make us a multiple title winning team. Looks like he just wants to win a title. Once he's achieved it, the passion won't be there anymore. Similar to Dortmund. You agree with that?"
I'd like to think not. He won 2 at Dortmund. I'd like to think not. I'd like to think, he'd stay a bit longer. But I don't know where I've heard it, either from an interview from him, but he kind of said Liverpool was his last job, club-wise. Yeah. And if you look at him, I think he spent the same amount of years, 7 years, or something like that. He isn't someone that chops and changes. He likes to build a project, and he does seem someone that enjoys life. He might want to retire, maybe take a job at Germany national team. I don't know. But I don't know. I think, once he wins the Premier League, things will change. He definitely wants to win something, because you cannot, in 10 years down the line, you cannot compare him to Pep. I'm sorry, but 7 finals in a row he's lost, If he was to leave Liverpool now, he'd be seen as a success of the way we play football, but, he can't be seen as a success at Rafa Benitez in trophy-wise, or, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the issue. So I think... And we're backing him at the moment. We're backing him, and so it's a tricky one, really. What do you think? Do you think he wants one more?
No, I think he'll stay at least 7. And I think I don't know. I mean, I think that's an interesting concern that the guy brings up in the comment section. But listen, I think Klopp wanted it just as much as we do, and I'm sure he knows his record of losing. It's one thing to be able to get to those finals, and that's good. That's great. I mean, he's been to 3 for us already.
Yeah,
that's great. But we got to win them. We got to win them. We got to win the trophy. And at the end of the day, that's what his legacy will be. At the end, it's nice to see the journeys that we go on the Champions League and this amazing football or whatever. But it doesn't mean too much unless you got a trophy in the cabinet. Yeah. So.
Definitely.
I mean, this is definitely the season where I feel like this is his 3rd season. He's got. It's not like he hasn't really gotten the players that he's wanted, more or less. And if he hasn't, they've been the next best thing. So I guess in the case of the goalkeeper situation, I think he really, really wanted Oblak. We got Allison. Is anybody really complaining? Probably not.
Yeah.
So
Virgil.
For me, I feel like there's a lot being said about the front 3 and Mo Salah specifically. But to me, listen, if we go the rest of this season and the front 3 aren't really firing, we win the league and we're playing this really amazing defensive football. Now that's probably slightly, I mean, because of the goals at City. Let's say we finish the season both same points at City. If we're not scoring the goals, it's going to be tough to get it, because City, on goal difference, they're going to score a lot of goals. We know that already. So that's the one thing I'm concerned with, because I feel like we'll keep pace with City. But if we do, it'll have to be by a plethora of points. You know what I mean? I think because if we keep it too tight, then like it is now, they'll be up ahead of us with the goal difference. So that's one thing I'm concerned with. But I do think Klopp will get us trophies. Yeah, plural trophies. I do believe that, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Champions League start back up, and also the league. I think people will say on paper we have some quote unquote easy games coming up, but it's the Premier League and a lot of teams that are looking good. You know what I mean? So we got to be ready. And again, I think this, as much as we hate the international break, this one has kind of come probably at a really good time.
Definitely,
because I think the guys could definitely use it. Up until this point, for you, who's been kind of a highlight? Maybe no such award, but in your mind as a supporter, who's been the guy who's really impressed you, and maybe at this point of the season, maybe kind of the player of the team so far?
Gomez without fail for me. Virgil's been amazing, but I expect it. I expected Virgil to. I'm happy. I'm relieved because there was always going to be concern. You come for big money, most expensive defender in the world. The pressure's on every time he's going to make a mistake. 75 million, and he's took it to another level. And I expect him to go on and rub shoulders in 10 years' time when people talk about the great of that generation. Virgil, I get that. Gomez, I'll be the first to say it. In the summer, I wanted a centre back. I'm not saying I didn't want Gomez time, but I was looking at different centre backs, and I tweeted about the sales and whatnot. And Gomez for me now, I wouldn't swap Gomez for any defender centre back in the Premier League period. I don't know if they'd come in and fit the way they fit with Virgil. He's quick, he's strong, he's good with his feet, he's confident. There's times where he's got his back to goal and he'll just, control the ball and beat a player and then ping it. And he's learning massively off Van Dijk. So Gomez has been my biggest surprise package. All of a sudden, I'm no longer worried about our centre backs. And a close call. Robertson's been fantastic that last year. Trent as well. But Wijnaldum, I think Wijnaldum sat there in the summer and thought, look at Liverpool. They're dying for this Fekir lad. They've brought in Fabinho out of nowhere. Heater's come in. Now let's look around. Hendo's captain, so he's probably not getting jumped out straight away. Milner, he was instrumental to the season, especially in the Champions League. He probably looked at himself and thought, I'm probably the weak link here. Like, I'm probably the one that's going to probably be shifted out if Ox weren't injured. And instead of, throwing a fuss and like lots of players do in the past, and they, why are they buying this player for what? Like Marshall, why are they replacing me? Or he said, no, fuck that. I'm going to become I'm going to do what the manager's asking for me. And he's become like a number 6, and he's kept Fabinho out of the team. And not only that, he's probably the first on the starting team in our midfield. So I think Widgie's another close one. I think he's been phenomenal and he's been great. And now it's good to have options, but at the moment, I wouldn't take him out of the team. I'm really impressed with him.
Yeah, I gotta agree with those. I mean, and I love what you said about Gini, because I think the same thing. And that's what you want from a player, to feel like, okay, there's new guys coming in. Let me give Klopp something else to think about. And Gini has done just that. Milner's been great as well, but I think Gini has been probably, if there was an award for most improved player, you can give it to Gini. And I think Gomez as well. I mean, just exceeded. If everybody's being honest, he exceeded everyone's expectations. I mean, come on. I mean, a lot of us, we were crying out for another center back, but he's come in and just been amazing. Everything Klopp has asked for. Very minimal to no mistakes that he's made in the season so far. Being asked to go back out and playing right back again against arguably the toughest game so far this season in the Premier League. Doing that without missing a beat. I mean, the kid's amazing. Making saving tackles, dive-ins. I mean, it's unbelievable. I want to finish with this. Ronald Koeman came out recently. I don't know if you saw this, and talked about Virgil van Dijk, saying how he's a bit too casual, a bit too calm sometimes, a bit too laid back. And, of course, as good as Virgil van Dijk is, I think sometimes we don't allow ourselves to give him criticism as well when he makes mistakes. And, we all know that was a clear penalty in that game. Because he does so much, some of those things kind of go under the radar. Do you think so? A lot of people will say, "Oh, it's Ronald Koeman. He's a former Everton manager. Forget it, whatever." But Ronald Koeman was a fantastic defender in his day. He's currently the manager of the Netherlands team. So, Do you agree with that at all? Do you feel like there are moments where Van Dijk might be a bit too on the casual side and it could cost us, or do you think it's just something that it happens so little that it's not really that big a deal?
Um, I do. No, I don't. At the moment, it's something that I actually like. I like how he's so confident. He doesn't seem scared. When people push, like, try to beat him to the border strip, he smiles at them. He winks at them. He's cocky. You know, he's got that kind of "I am the fucking best." Like, yo, what is it? And that's rare to get in players. You know, that's something that Ramos holds and Yap Stam held and Maldini. And so until he makes a mistake, then I can fault him. And yeah, the penalty and stuff. But I think at the moment, you know, nah, Rio Ferdinand had that type of swagger about him too. And, you know, I think he thinks deep down that he's the probably one. He's got a big ego probably deep down. And, you know, if we know about one of Koeman will know about his past. He was everywhere he's been. He stood out. He's been head and shoulders above at Celtic, and then head and shoulders above at Southampton, and almost at Liverpool. He's head and shoulders above everyone in the Premier League, and so I don't really blame him. Like, he's not making enough mistakes for me to criticize him about that. To be honest, I think it's part of the package. He is very confident, and that confidence pushes onto the whole of the team. But you know, it gives Gomez. You see Van Dijk shouting in nice ways. Keep the line up, lads. You
Oh
come
yeah,
back, Gomez.
yeah.
Trent, you go forward. Robertson, you come here. And, you know, just imagine what it's going to be like after a few more trophies and a captain armband on him in 2-3 years' time. Like, I wouldn't want that damned off him. I wouldn't want to take that away from him.
Yeah, that's why I mean there's so many characters in this. I want us so badly to get a trophy, man, and I just think we're in a good place to do it. We've got some issues in the middle of the park. We're having some issues going forward, but I hope it'll work itself out, and we might have to just lean on the defense for longer than we would have thought. Hopefully that's not the case because you want to see us be able to get goals and defense and kind of just do their thing. On the Koeman thing, listen, I think Van Dijk has his moments. At the end of the day, I think because he usually is so amazing, these little blunders here and there. Look, he's human; they're gonna happen. I think he's the kind of player that when they do happen, though, he'll be making sure he's doesn't allow them to happen again. Almost like the Allison thing. We don't think we'll see Allison do the same thing he did with Leicester.
Leicester.
He won't do that again. If he does, he'll make sure he pulls it off. So I'm not worried about it. I've spoken about Van Dijk being a little casual before. It is something that's part of his game, but I think it's something that it breeds confidence. Someone in the comment section said at Celtic he was much more aggressive. I think at Celtic he was much younger. He was really still trying to prove himself on a world stage.
It was raw.
Now that he's kind of, seen how amazing he is within himself, I think he feels like he can afford to be that way as long as he doesn't make mistakes. He makes very little, so we can move on with that. But yeah, man, just excited for the team to get back to winning ways.
What do you think of? What do you think of our next fixture list?
Yeah. Again, I think it's Huddersfield. Who else is it? Arsenal's in there somewhere. What do you know?
Getting it up. So I've got it up now. So we've got Huddersfield.
Okay.
Away. Then we've got Red Star Belgrade at home. Then we've got Cardiff at home, and then Arsenal away. Let's go for them four. What do you think of them four fixtures?
So it was Huddersfield, and then who else?
Red Star.
Oh right, okay. Then
Cardiff, and then Arsenal.
Right. Yeah, I'm hoping someone's due a slacking, man. I mean, we beat West Ham pretty bad, and I think Southampton was. I mean, the when you saw the goals look pretty bad, although we got them from different situations. I think Huddersfield or Cardiff are going to get smacked. One of them are going to get really smacked. Red Star could be tricky. Red Star gave Napoli a hell of a game, and Napoli were way better than I thought they were. I got to say that. So that could always be tricky. It is Champions League, but I think we streamed through all of those. Arsenal will be the game that of the four will probably at least appears to be tough. They're a 9-game win streak. They're doing well. They're scoring goals for fun. So they could be a team that can end up being a dark horse. That's probably not going to happen, but we'll see. It's away at Arsenal. They'll be geared up, especially if they keep winning through to that game. So I think of the Premier League games, I think we can get 9 points out of those. I really do. I think we'll get 9 points out of those. and then set us up for some other tougher games we might have coming up. It's crazy to believe that the next time we play City will be January 1st, which doesn't feel like that long from now. So
No, it doesn't.
got some tough games coming up. Real quick. Oh, Jason wanted me to ask. Let's see.
Yeah, I've got time, bro. No rush. I got time.
Okay, cool. Jason said, "Do you think there's pressure on the club to keep an English core? Because I'm still a bit baffled as to why Hendo's around." Let me say something about that real quick, and I'll let you get into it. I kept hearing how people were bigging up Hendo in this game, and I didn't really see it. As I kept watching the game over and over again, I do see what they're talking about. I thought he was really, really good, and I think people who just don't like Hendo, they find it hard to see anything positive that he does do. Obviously,
Yeah.
the people who love Hendo, they make sure they remind us every game. So, what do you think about the English core thing? And do you think Henderson? Do you think he doesn't get enough praise, or do you think he's on par with what his performances warrant?
I think in England before the World Cup, Henderson was the mockery of the Premier League, the mockery of Liverpool. He was the joke. Everyone always had jokes about him in the pubs, and he was. Everyone would say, "You'll never win a league with Henderson. You'll never win the Champions League with Henderson in your team. I can't. He'll be the worst captain to win the Premier League." People would say stuff like that, and then I think when the World Cup came on, England fans had to forcefully watch Henderson, and they started to realize that he does all the the boring stuff that lets a team tick. It follows you like a dog, keeping pressure to not allow you to be able to spin. He in the 93rd minute, he's still tracking like it's the first minute, and so people in England started to change. As for me personally, before the English core thing, as a player, Hendo, I'm a fan of Henderson. I'm a big fan of him. I think we scored over 100 goals last season, and Henderson is a reason to why we are allowed to, because he tracks back so well, he defends, he breaks up play well, and he does the boring football. He does do a few side passes, but he also pings the ball, and he doesn't. He does the football that Michael Carrick was the same in United when they were winning everything. No, Carrick never got no praise. It was Giggs, it was Ronaldo, it was Tevez, it was all of that, and there was this player in the middle of the park like Carrick who just did all the boring, tidy work. And I think that's what Hendo does for Liverpool. And as a captain, I think Henderson's, he loves football. You look at him on social media, on Instagram and Twitter, whatever. All he is football, football, football. His social life is football. He's a boring Jane. He's not into fashion. He's not into cars, into women, into drinking, into clubbing. He loves football. And I believe he's probably the first in training still. He's probably the last one to come out of training. He probably sends the boys a text on Saturday night saying, have an early night. He does all of that. And he was handpicked by Gerrard. So I think that's why he's kept his place, and maybe being English, but he's not exactly Scouse. So a lot of the Liverpool Scouse fans, they don't talk of him the way they talk of Trent, for instance, or Gerrard. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Hendo. Like I said, when you watch games over and over again, or when you see games live at Anfield where the camera's not focused on him, you see how much off the ball running he does.
Yeah.
And for instance, PSG, I probably appreciated him more than ever in PSG, because when Neymar had the ball and he was trying to do this, every time him or Mbappe were behind, Hendo was behind. And Milner does the same thing. And this is my issue, though, when all three of them they're too similar. But I'm a big fan of Hendo, and he's brought me over because I didn't really like him. As for the English core thing, I don't think Klopp's that bothered, to be honest. I don't think Kenny Dalglish was very bothered, but I don't think Pep and Klopp, I don't think they really care if they need many English players in the team. I'm not thinking about. I think Klopp is strict about the regime of his players. You look at a lot of his players; they've got lots in common. A lot of them are married. A lot of them religious or very down to earth. They're not into like Instagram fame and media lifestyle. You compare them to Man United players, Lingards, and all of them, Lukaku's and Pogba's, and you think we'd have Hendo dyeing his hair every weekend and doing dabbing dancing on Instagram every live videos, and Klopp doesn't like that. So and that was a reason why he had an issue with Sacco, I believe, and he told Sturridge to calm down. And so I think that's what Klopp, more than the English thing, Klopp's more about, he likes his footballers to be old school men, married, old school early night men, and I think that goes around the whole team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's a good way to look at it, and that hits it on the head. It's pretty early to say, but obviously Liverpool fans, some are split about Naby and Fab, and going
Mm.
to the extent of even saying, is it possible that Fab was a waste of money? Is
No.
Naby ever going to live? I mean, it's insane kind of talk, man. But that's who we are as fans, man.
Yeah.
We want things right away, especially Liverpool fans. We're starved for a trophy, so
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
say some of the craziest things, but to me, that's some of the most wildest shit I've ever seen, man. I think,
Mm.
listen, not everybody can just jump right to it and be amazing. That's just facts. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You can look around the league and see other players who make smoother transitions, and that's cool. But not everyone can do that. So I don't know. I think I know Naby and Fabinho will be really, really big time characters in our locker room, really big time players for our team, and it's just a
Mhm.
matter of what they showed. And I think once they do, then I think the optimism and the confidence in the squad from the fan point of view would be that much more improved. But tell me
Definitely.
about Fabinho and Naby. Of course, Naby's played a bit more than Fabinho.
Yep.
But
So my thoughts of it, like you said, Naby was phenomenal in the first game. Really, really good, crazy. I was blown away. I thought, whoa, real box to box dribble and everything, and then he's it's been hard for him. You know, he's young. He's what 22, 23. He's in a not just is he in a new team. He's in it culturally, language wise. You know, he's in it. It's a whole new world to him. And expectation. He took the 8 shirt. He was brought a year before, so people we've watched him, we've studied him. You know, so there's expectation on him. There's no, I don't think there's any concern on Naby to be honest at all. I think it will do us good now. Milner being injured, I said this to my friend the other day. Milner being injured could be the blessing in disguise, you know, because you know
yeah,
it's not, if Salah got injured, if Mane got injured, if Firmino, that is no blessing in any way for me. Van Dijk's no blessing.
right, right, right.
Gomez is no blessing.
Yeah,
Robertson, Trent, Allison, none of them are blessings in disguise.
yeah,
Milner or Milner out of all of them because of his age, because he
yeah.
said he wants to go back to Leeds to get promoted and stuff like that. We now
Oh,
have no.
is that true? I thought that was a rumor. Is that true?
I wouldn't put it past him. He's a through and through Leeds fan. It'd be a boyhood dream to be back there, and he's getting on his last legs now. And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't. Surely at 34, he'll be next year. Liverpool cannot be looking at him and thinking we're going to build a team around Milner.
Yeah, yeah,
Surely, already this year, I expect him to play less of a role, and I do think Fabinho and Keita coming in, he will play. He will play less of a role. We saw it already. The hamstring thing. Yes, it can happen at any point in a game, but I do believe that is also starting 3 games in just over a week. It's going to happen, and I think he's done good by retiring from England because he does get 2 weeks off when others don't because he's not playing internationally. So that blessing in disguise will now allow both of them, but especially Keita, to have a run of games against easier opponents. You look at the last few games where he hasn't been starting, and then when he doesn't start, he's chucked in with a few minutes, 20 minutes ago, or he starts and then he comes off, and he's going against some very good midfield. He's going against Kantes, and he's going against David Silvers, and he's going against very high class midfielders. And at his age, new to the league, I think you're looking at our next few games. I want him to be Huddersfield and Red Star and Cardiff. Them 3 games, that could be a big thing for him, and that could, he could go on, and then for me, he should be the starting. Fabinho, again, I'm not worried. I think the way I praise Wijnaldum, playing the best football I think he's ever played. I know he was great as a number 10 in Holland, but it's so hard to compare them days and that level of football in that league. The fact that he's playing the best of Fabinho is just unlucky that there happens to be arguably 2 players, Milner as well, that have almost playing at the peak. They're playing the best football that they've ever played. So
it's mad.
yeah, Fabinho, we shouldn't look at Fabinho and be like, oh, he's not good enough. No, at the moment in time, the midfield ahead of him, if it's not broken, why fix it? They've done nothing wrong yet. It doesn't mean that he's not, Jesus isn't going in bad form because Aguero's scoring loads. It's just Aguero's just doing really well. And so,
Yeah.
and you look at Klopp, this time last year, I had doubts about Robertson. I remember thinking, we brought this guy, Hull got relegated. He's not getting close to the team. And then around January, Robertson really stepped in. Ox was the same. When we first bought Ox, I thought, oh, it's a lot of money, injury prone. He's only had glimpses of 25 minutes, 45 minutes. And then around January, he really took his game up. And so Klopp's done this in the past. We shouldn't be surprised that Klopp has got away. And, maybe Fabinho's fitness isn't up to the level of high pressing. I'm not sure what it is, but, there's nothing. He's getting picked for Brazil. He's playing for Brazil. And I don't think he was that bad in the cup game. Again, he came into a game that isn't easy. Chelsea's second team has players like Cesc Fabregas, real midfielders that have won everything in the football. And, so I don't think there's any concern on any of them. And Milner could be a blessing in disguise. And we've got an easy run of games now, which is perfect for these two players. Because Hendo will no doubt play the next two games for England. So he doesn't really get much of a rest. I don't think he will get much of a rest anyway, Henderson.
Yeah, no, that was perfectly put, man, about Fab and Naby. And there's not much more I can add to that. But, I think like one of the key points that I got from everything you said was that, he's a Brazilian international for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And, Robertson is a really good example because even though as supporters, I think we saw like, why does he keep playing persisting with Alberto Moreno when you have this guy who the few flashes we saw of Robertson, we knew that he was at least better than Alberto Moreno. So we're thinking, listen, just throw this guy on. He can't be any worse than that. Yeah. And once he really got his chance, he took it. Same with Ox. It took him a little while, but once he really, really got the belief in Klopp, he just took it. He took it. And so, I think again with these fixtures, it's definitely an opportunity for these guys to really pop up. And like you said, Milner's not as good as he's been doing. He's definitely, I think, outdoing himself. Really, I mean, come on, this is him really performing out of his skin. So you can't imagine he can carry that for the whole season. So again, even when he got hurt in the game, of course, I never root for our players to get hurt, but when he got hurt, it was almost like, okay, well, we have Naby come off the bench. It's not like a broke down Lallana. It's not a Jordan I from seasons ago. It's not Allen. This is a top notch player. So he came into a crazy game with a back injury that he just got a few days prior. So he didn't really get in the swing of things. But again, I think that could be the turning point in what we see from Keita as far as putting in consistent performances. And these are the games where he can really show that. Now you get to the stretch and he doesn't really seem to be improving. Maybe you start thinking, okay, well, maybe we've got an issue. But even then, I think it's just still too early to really say. Certain guys they flourish different than others. You know what I mean? I'm not too bothered by it. I think same thing with Salah. I mean, he was never going to come in and reproduce what he did last season. But again, I think people might be panicking a bit too much. I think he's doing a lot of the a lot of the things right. We're just in final third. We're just not doing it. And a lot of his shots are very soft. I don't get that either. But right to the keeper, no real pace on it. So, but again, I mean, I think if our defense is keeping us in games, I'm happy with that because we've been starved for a good defense for a long time. So, pretty optimistic going forward in the season. So let's just hope when we get back. I think Huddersfield is the first game. Is that home?
No, I don't think it is.
Okay.
Let me check. I think it's away. Yeah, it's away. And then we've got two at home on the bounce. We've got the Red Star and then Cardiff. I'm cool, man. To be honest, I'll take 12. I think we can get 12 points. I think we can just not even draw. Even Arsenal, I think we'll get back into the thick of things. Arsenal, like my brother's an Arsenal fan, so I hear about them a lot. All my cousins are Arsenal fans from London, so I was having a discussion with them the other day, and they're 8 games on the bounce, 8-9 games on the bounce. It sounds better than it is. If you look at the games, the teams that they've played, they've all been poor teams. They've been very lucky, and against a lot of these teams, they're giving away a lot of chances to them. So they're going to start hitting some when they hit real quality. I don't think we should worry too tough. I really think we can beat up. We're talking about win the league, and we've got to beat up Arsenal. Sorry. So yeah, I'm not too worried. Chelsea beat them. Man City beat them comfortably. I think we'll beat them. And they haven't beaten us. Fun fact: they haven't beaten us since 2015 in the league. That's a long time ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Wow. Last season it was 3-3. Mingley stupid mistakes. It should have been 4-5-0. Yeah, and then at home we beat them 4-0. Remember, Sturridge came on and got the fourth late on. And then Klopp's got a good record against them. Mane's got a great record against them as well, and good goals against them too. So I think we can really push on now. Yeah, I've got a question for you though.
Yeah.
So again, it's from watching this thing called The Debate on Sky Sports and stuff like that. And Carragher basically said, this is the best chance Liverpool have had to win the league. Obviously, there was the Brendan Rodgers season, but we're talking that was not fluky, but Suarez just, took it to a stupid another level, and Sturridge. And there was so many cracks in the team and we just outscored everyone. And in 2009, we were really good, but did we have the team that we have now? Did we have the bench that we have now? Did we relied on Gerrard and Torres link up? And now what Carragher said is he thinks that we need to focus on the Premier League. He said if we didn't start Salah, Mane, and Firmino and Milner, all of them man against Napoli, we could have got a result against City. He was saying, we can't afford to go gun blazing in both competitions. And majority of Liverpool fans would pick the title. And the title, it seems not easier, but mathematically almost more capable. We can do great in Europe like last year and then get drawn to, I don't know, Barcelona and like what happened last year. And, whereas he was basically saying Napoli away was a time where we just beat PSG. In the end, we lost, but I would have took out at least one of the three. And I agree with him. I would have took out at least one of the three. Sturridge is in firing form. It's not like Sturridge is injured. There was nothing wrong with starting Sturridge and dropping maybe Mane or Salah and then playing Firmino out wide-ish, or even two of them, put Shaqiri and Sturridge in, and then imagine a fresh Salah and Firmino against City. And he went on to say City played a day before us and they did half the miles towards, and that makes a big difference. So what's your thoughts on that? Do you think we should prioritize the league? And we've got 2 easy games now in the Champions League, quote, easy games. Do you think we should maybe, swap around a little bit? We would if it was Europa, should we? Or should we go for both and wish for the best?
I think if our squad was strong enough, because look, I just don't think it is to battle on both fronts. That's just the facts. I don't think it is. If it was, I'd say go guns blazing and everything, because we exist to win trophies and as many trophies as we can. But that's a great topic, and I don't always agree with Carragher, but in this, I would say yes. I think the league is what you need to be going for, and it's a good shot for Sturridge. I think Sturridge should be getting more games under his belt, man, or at least coming into games a little bit early. As well as Shaqiri, because listen, I don't care what people say. The style of play that we have, naturally, it's going to take a toll at some point. You're going to run guys into the ground. I mean, that's just the truth. The way we play now, it seems like Klopp has kind of backed off from that a bit this season in certain games. We're not pressing and going too full blown, rock star crazy like we usually do. But it's still very, very much so a huge part of what we do. So. Yeah, I think the league is the most important. I'm sorry, man. I think, FA Cup is one way. We're already out of the other situation that we had with the Carabao Cup, so that's a trophy that we're going to miss out on. I think we can do really good on Champions League. These kind of like 2-game, one-off situations, knockouts, we can do really good in those. But I think we need to really, really prioritize the league. But I feel like Klopp's not really that kind of dude. I think he's going to try to put his best team out for the whole season. I think one thing you can kind of notice is that in his mind, he thought, look, we're going to try to get through this quote-unquote difficult stretch of games, with Napoli, City, Chelsea twice, with what I think is my best, 11. Once we get past the international break, I can kind of break in Fabinho, break in Naby, bring Shaqiri on a bit more. Sturridge will probably get a couple starts under his belt, or at least come in early. So I think he just said to the guys, look, Millie, Hendo, just do me a job through these first few games. And then I'll see if I can, kind of rotate, rest some guys, put some fresh guys in. So that's a great topic, a great thing to speak on, and I do agree. I think the league is the most important right now. I mean, it's been far too long, so that's got to be the main goal. I think you agree, right?
Yeah, I totally think that. Before the Napoli game, I said to myself or to my friends, I think in the Champions League group stages, if you win 4, you can possibly lose 2. 3, 6, 9, you'll get through on 12 points. Unless you're in a really unlucky group, you'll get through on 12 points. If you lose 2 games in the Premier League with the level of Man City are, you could be out of it. You could be out of it. You know, you look at Arsenal; they've lost 2, and people have written them off. You know, and that is the level because you know you're going to draw a few in the Premier League too. So with the Champions League, you can lose 2 in the groups and go through, and then you if we can batter teams at Anfield, we can feel the. You look at the Porto, for instance. Yes, they weren't at Anfield, but you get 5-0 up, you can field a weaker team. You cannot do that in the Premier League. You can go away to West Ham and lose 1-0, and we've seen it in the past. That is Liverpool's issue in the past. So for me, it's not like the Champions League is fluky, but it matters more about, like you said, Wednesday night, counter-attacking, 90 minutes, away goals, bam, 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 bam. The Premier League, it takes a bigger skill. You know, it takes consistency. It takes consistency, early kickoffs, you know, late kickoffs, this and that, you know, going against all types of teams that will happily play for a point, will happily play for a 0-0. Champions League, it's open to us because most teams won't play like that. So it works for us. The problem is, I think, like you said, the squad depth at the moment, we don't have the quality to maybe fight for both. And if we were to get knocked out of the Champions League, say we get knocked out in the, I don't want it to happen, but say we get knocked out in round 32 and Man City don't, and Man City go, I don't want them to win it, but they go on like we did to the semis and finals.
Oh, God.
It will take the toll on that. I so surely think if they get out all the way, and I think they can, if they can go to the semis, I don't want them to win it, the semis or the final, that is when they will start to slow down. Pep will prioritize Europe. He will try to do both, but
oh yeah.
if he's got, say for instance, he's got.
I see where you're going with. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, say we're talking April. I'm making up April the 27th on Sunday. Sunday away, he's got Wolves, and on Tuesday or Wednesday, he's got Barcelona at the new camp. He is gonna prioritize Sterling, Sane, Aguero for that. And what happens then? Wolves get 1-1. And what we've done? We're fresh. We haven't played for 7 days. Boom, we're 3 points ahead of you now. And then what happens a week later? They're in the semis after the quarters. They've got Juve away. And then on the weekend, they're playing Brighton. And, you know, and this is where, for the first time, I'm sitting here 6 months before thinking, how can we win the Premier League? Is this an option? Because we don't have the quality that they have. But Man City have never won the Champions League. They've never even made a final. The board, the owners, everyone will be gunning for the Champions League. And that works great for little Liverpool. We can do our thing. And come May, you never know.
It's funny because I always hear all these City fans always booing the Champions League anthem. But of course, if they ever get close to sniffing a Champions League title, they'd be all about it. But I agree. I mean, he's just come up and ripped the damn Premier League apart. 100 points. I mean, smoked everybody. He's got that under his belt. But the thing that people keep saying is that he can't win another Champions League. Another one. I know he got one with Barcelona, but he can't win that. So I agree. That's a good point. I never really thought about it from that angle, but that makes a lot of sense, and that could be something that works in our advantage. Do you think that it's really a three-headed race for this? Do you think Chelsea will kind of fall by the wayside at some point, or do you think they're a legit contender along with Liverpool and City?
Good question. No, I don't think that it's a three-horse race. I think Hazard is on form, maybe the best player in the world on current form. You know, he's incredible on current form. He's definitely the best player in the league on current form. And, you know, the one thing with Hazard, who we all know about, I've been a massive, huge fan of Hazard for years, is I've never seen him be on this form for 36 games. Exactly. This is why he's never got 20 a season or 30 a season, because he has these phenomenal months, then he has these dry months. Phenomenal dry. Now, the problem with Chelsea this year is, yes, he's on a phenomenal start and it's good for him. When he goes dry, Giroud, Morata, William, Pedro, they are not chipping in between them 40 goals. They are not grabbing games by the scruff of their neck, you know, in big games. They're not going to be able to do that. I know they won't. And playing on Thursdays, they're not going to be able to do that. That is why I think they will slow down. They will slow down. As soon as Hazard starts to slow down, which he will, he's human. No one can. Suarez couldn't take us to a Premier League with Sturridge. It ain't going to happen. The team will slow down. I generally think the team will slow down. So I don't think that it's a three-horse race. I think, you know, Hazard's just in incredible form. They've had a decent start to the Premier League fixture-wise. If they played Arsenal now, I don't think they'd be as confident. They played Arsenal when they would, new manager just come in and stuff. So, yeah, I don't think it's a three-horse race simply because of goals. Because of goals, I don't think it's a three-horse race. I don't think Morata and Giroud are good enough to take it all the way to May.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think they get any significant injury to Hazard for a period of time, you can definitely see what that team is made of.
Definitely.
I will say Sari, whatever his name is, has come in and, definitely lit a bit of a fire under the team. And I think you can tell that he's kind of freed up Hazard in a way that we haven't seen in a while. It's like vintage Hazard. And I think it's not enough to say, every it's almost like every other season, Chelsea will win the league, then they'll do bad, then they'll start doing well. And the players have to take some of the blame for that, because if they can play this well with Sarri, surely they could have played this well under a manager who just won the championship with them. So really strange what goes on with Chelsea. Really another good question here in the comment was about the subs from Klopp. And
good question.
Allegedly, he when Mahrez missed the penalty, he yelled at Shaqiri to sit back down because he wanted him to. I guess he assumed that Mahrez was going to make the penalty, and then if that happened, he was going to put Shaqiri on.
I saw that. Yeah.
In my opinion, that's a bit too reactive. You know what I mean? Instead of because you don't want to wait for a team to score. Shaqiri should have been on that game much early, or he didn't come on at all. He should have come on that game early, maybe with Sturridge. I mean, I think the Milner injury kind of broke some things up about what Klopp wanted to do in that game as far as subs were concerned, but that's been my main kind of consistent criticism, if any, with Klopp, is that his subs are very strange. They're very late, and sometimes they don't make sense. Now, give him credit. Sometimes they do really well. Sturridge coming in, winning the game for us. I mean, so there's times when he's made subs and it's been like, okay, that really, really worked. But by and large, they seem to be very, very strange subs. What's your opinion on that?
I totally agree. If I did have a criticism of Klopp, would be sorry, 1 minute. If I did have a criticism of Klopp, it would be sometimes his subs, and it's always been that issue. I think I don't know what it is, but does he learn off his mistakes? Sometimes it's a very long time to learn off his mistakes. How long it took him to get a centre back, for instance, and a keeper. Yeah. When he got the portfolio, he should have known about Mingele and whatever, but he didn't. So I looked at it when I can't remember where it was. I think it was Napoli. Napoli away. We looked shocking. Nothing was working up top for us, and Sturridge is just in the form of 2013-14 season. He brought Sturridge on for me too late. It was. I don't even bought Sturridge. I can't remember. I remember seeing Sturridge on time. I'm thinking, well, what are you doing? And that is an issue. I think he likes to go with. He doesn't like Plan B. He doesn't have a Plan B. To be fair, he doesn't like a Plan B. Lots of teams have a Plan B. Lots of teams have a big man to throw on top if the little man's not working, whatever. Klopp doesn't believe in a Plan B, and I agree with the guy in the comment. His subs are way too late. A lot of the time, it's too late. I feel like Pep went for the draw in a way. I think Klopp started to look at the game towards the end and maybe thought, I don't want to go to attacking and they get a 1-0. Maybe that's what he was thinking. But that isn't usually how Klopp is. Klopp's usually attack, rock and roll. I don't know. Maybe they both changed a little bit. Maybe they both fear each other. Maybe they both saw this is maybe they both would have took a draw at half time. I'm not sure. But yeah, it is a criticism I have of him. I think his subs are too late. A lot of the time, they're 85th minute, 83rd minute. Like, it's so late. And
it's just so crazy, man. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you're trying to change a game. It's just like that I don't get it. I don't get it. And you're right. As much as I hate to admit it, there's been talk about it, but it's true. It doesn't seem like he has a plan B. And that worries me sometimes. Especially in this season, it's going to be, again, I feel like Klopp has adjusted things a bit. And I think that has a lot to do with how much better we are defensively, which is good. But I mean, the lack of a plan B is very, very, very troubling. The lack of cover for Mane, for example, is very, very, very troubling. I mean, yeah, we can pigeonhole somebody up there. People have said Naby. You can put Shaqiri on the left, I guess. But that's a little troubling as well. So I don't know. I mean, I think over these next few games, I'd like to see something chopped up, some kind of switch. Formation, a player that we didn't expect in a different position, something. I want to see something that changes just to keep teams a bit honest, because at this point, it's almost like teams feel like okay, the defense is really good this season so far. But if we can just, be a little bit more physical with Salah, if we can just knock him off his pace, if we can do that, we can stop them. There's a bunch of quote unquote blueprints out there. The Napoli game, the Chelsea game. There's different things that people can look at and say, oh, well, these teams got it done this way. Let's try to, do the same thing. So there's some concerns there, but overall, I mean, listen, man, we should all be happy. Joint top with City and Chelsea. If you to say that before the season started, some of us wouldn't believe it. So
I agree. I would have took it.
I mean, I know we can sit on here and talk all night, man, but we should probably cut it here.
Yeah.
Got a couple. Well, I guess this weekend is international. Then so we'll be back soon. And hopefully we can get back on post Huddersfield match at some point.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Thanks so much, James. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Safe having me again, like always.